I actually was on the flight with Gordon Ramsay, and I've known Gordon for years. And he said to me, he said, you won't treasure this moment probably until a few years' time because you're in it. So you just, for me, it's just I'm going to work. And he was right. It wasn't until afterwards I thought, actually, that was quite a big deal, really.
Go back to the Met Bar in the 90s.
Yeah. Oh, there's a few stories from there I could tell. That's for sure.
Well, you can tell us those in a minute. But I mean, back in the day, I remember, in the tabloid press, it was in the papers, day in, day out. There's always something going on there with, some big name at the time. But I mean, was there ever a moment, when you were stood in there and you kind of looked around and really felt that you'd made it?
I've got to be really honest, because I've done it since I was a kid. I've never looked at them and seen them any different to me. Do you know what I mean? Because I've done it for so long. So I've never been in awe of celebrity or seen it even as celebrity. They're just people that I work with. I think probably those moments when you have those little moments and you don't realise it until afterwards is probably like when I was on Broadway and there was a huge billboard in Times Square, and that was a bit of a weird moment because I wasn't even looking for it, and I was walking along to go to work and I just looked up and I was like, oh, that's a bit weird. Yeah, so it's not people that make me feel like I've made it. It's situations and places that you find yourself in where you suddenly go, oh, wow, this is a little bit of a pinch me moment. But again, at the time, you don't really feel it. It's always afterwards. And I think when I did Chicago on Broadway, I actually was on the flight with Gordon Ramsay, and I've known Gordon for years. And he said to me, he said, you won't treasure this moment probably until a few years' time because you're in it. So you just, for me, it's just I'm going to work. And he was right. It wasn't until afterwards I thought, actually, that was quite a big deal, really, because they'd never really taken a Brit over to do something like that. I was the first. I mean, I'm thinking while you're talking, I mean, for me, it's probably applicable, obviously, in a different career. But, people always say to me, when did you, I don't know, first feel successful? When did you, really feel like that business has made it or you really made some money or something? And I always think for me, I probably never really felt it because I mean, even if you look back, you were still always in the moment. It's like, okay, you were looking forward to, I don't know, buying that house or buying that car or selling that business. But when you actually do it, there's probably something else that you've got to go and get stuck into anyway, another business and another aspect of life. And whether it's just that you don't get to enjoy it or whether it's that you get desensitized to it because, you're doing it day in, day out. I guess it's probably, in hindsight, a question always asked by people from a completely different industry or a completely different walk of life to you, because I think, whatever you do, whenever you ask someone about stresses in their careers or highs and lows or whatever, they probably always give you an answer that sounds almost like boring and vanilla compared to what you'd think, because when you're doing it day in, day out, it just is what it is, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's my job at the end of the day, and it's a job that I love, and I'm really grateful that I still get to do it.